YouTube, what's going on? Your boy T Davis is back. Week 10, Sunday Night Football. We're gonna make this a relatively quick video because I think this is a this slate pretty much it's really simple from the jump here. But we got the Chiefs going up against the Raiders, big AFC West matchup, Sunday Night Football. This is a pretty good game because the Raiders are playing pretty good this year. You still think the Chiefs are the Chiefs, but they haven't looked like themselves. So I'm intrigued by this. Obviously, this matters because the Raiders, I believe, are in first or maybe tied for first with the Chargers in the AFC West. Chiefs a little bit behind, but they're all close to each other. So high total on this game, one of the highest of the week. I expect a lot of points to be scored. Both pretty below average defenses, to say the least, especially the Chiefs defense. They've been brutal this year. But we'll kind of see how it shakes out. Of course, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel here on YouTube, hitting that bell so you're notified when I do drop all this types of daily fantasy and pro Madden player content. Subscribe, hit the like button, comment down below. If you think I missed anyone in this video, any values, any studs, let me know in the comments down below. ThriveFantasy.com, use that code TDavis for 100% deposit match. So let's jump right into it. Chiefs side. Listen, I feel like the Chiefs are always on primetime games, and we don't need to talk about their studs, right? Mahomes, even though he hasn't looked as great as he usually does the last 3 weeks, but I expect him to bounce back, man. He's gonna torch the Raiders here. I feel it. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. I don't need to talk about it too much. Listen, if you're playing multiple lineups, all three of these guys should be, captains in your lineups, right? And if you're playing cash games, you're not going to be able to fit all three of them. I lean Mahomes, of course, for the safety. You always want a quarterback in cash games. But if you're playing a lot of tournaments, I always love to have pass catchers in the captain spot, as you guys know. So Tyreek and Kelce will be two of my main guys that I will have in those captain spots. Running back position, Darrell Williams, he just kind of is what he is, right? They trust him. He's good in pass protection. Got 19 carries last week against the Packers. If there's positive game script, which there might be here on the road, they have a lead. They might run the ball a little bit more with Darrell Williams. I don't think he has that great upside, the big ceiling that you want, but he does get a few targets out of the backfield as well. He's relatively safe here in this matchup. I don't know if I want to pay that $7,200 price tag, but I will have some shares of him in my lineups. Mecole Hardman looked a little bit better here these last few weeks, getting a little bit more targets. He's really solidified himself as the number 2 receiver there in Kansas City. I think he's going to be kind of low owned here, so if you want some leverage off the other guys, $6,400 is not a great price tag, so I'm probably not going there in like single entry and things like that, but in large field tournaments, I will definitely take some chances on Mecole Hardman. Harrison Butker, he's always in play, the best kicker in football besides Justin Tucker. Tons of points should be scored in this game. Harrison Butker is a great source of salary relief here at only $4K. I'm definitely not playing the Chiefs defense. They just haven't been good this year. Now, I will say, if you want to play a really, 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 really low-owned play here, the Chiefs defense is it. I mean, you're probably looking at sub 15%, which is pretty wild in Showdown, maybe even sub 10%. So, if you really want a low-owned play and you think the Chiefs have a path to really get some sacks on Derek Carr, I just don't see that personally happening, so I'm not going to play any Chiefs defense. But it's just something to throw out there. Now, the guy that's really lost some steam here is Demarcus Robinson. He actually saw less snaps last week than Josh Gordon, so I'm off of Demarcus Robinson. Byron Pringle is getting a little bit more snaps, didn't get any targets. I'm probably going to max one of Pringle, Robinson, and Josh Gordon down here. I'm probably leaning towards Josh Gordon at only 200. Got a little bit more snaps last week. Played more than Demarcus Robinson, actually, for snaps. So I'd probably lean Gordon as the main play here, but you can also look at Pringle and Robinson. But I would only play one of these guys in your lineups. I would not play 2 or 3 of them. Definitely not. Jerick McKinnon, I guess he's worth a look here. Gets a couple targets, plays decent amount of the snaps. He's cheap at 800, so I'll probably have a few shares of him in some large field stuff. Derek Gore, it seems like they're not going to give him the ball that much now with Darrell Williams back. If he was getting the opportunity, I would like it because I do think Derek Gore is talented, but he's just not getting the opportunity that we look for. And then the only other guy that I'll somewhat mention is Blake Bell, but he's more there just kind of, he's more of a blocking tight end. They don't really pass him the ball, but he's minimum price. If you're playing 100 lineups, you can throw him in like 2 to 5%, I guess. But I kind of look at as Josh Gordon as my value, but I do think the best value is over here on the Raiders side, which we'll jump into right now. Of course, Derek Carr, one of the safest plays in the slate. Should be able to, put some yardage up, put some touchdowns up against this Chiefs defense. Darren Waller, the best tight end in football, or one of the best tight ends. We actually have 2 of the best in this game with Kelce and Waller, so it's exciting. But Waller's just a stud, man. Not much to say here. He's one of my favorite captains in tournaments as well this week. He's just a beast. Josh Jacobs, at running back. He's solid. He's been a little banged up this year. I do think they're gonna have to look to him a little bit more. Now that they're down a weapon of Ruggs is gone, so Josh Jacobs I think is okay here. He's relatively safe. Doesn't really get the passing game equity that you'd like, even though he had 4 targets last week. So he's in play here. All the studs are in play. Just make sure you use them in different ways. Hunter Renfrow, 8,400. He's getting way more targets now, in my opinion, with Ruggs gone. So he got 9 targets last week and a touchdown. Derek Carr has a great rapport with Hunter Renfrow. The price has skyrocketed, though, so it's going to make it difficult. But you can definitely, have some shares of Renfrow. I will for sure. Bryan Edwards getting more opportunities, obviously, as well. Only had 4 targets last week. Didn't even convert him into a catch. He's kind of more their, possession receiver jump ball type of guy, and he just hasn't had that connection with Carr that we look for. So if we're looking at an 8,100 or a 5,400 price tag, I'm probably going to go elsewhere here, a little bit lower. Kenyon Drake, he's been used way more in the passing game the last few weeks. You love to see that. So I do think Kenyon Drake is in play. I don't even think it's a bad idea to you can play him with Josh Jacobs because they play completely different roles, right? And sometimes they'll move Kenyon Drake out wide to receiver. So you don't really need to separate Drake and Jacobs. You can play both of them in the same lineup together. Deshaun Jackson, the new acquisition here. I'm not going to be playing him at this 4,200 price tag. He's more of a deep threat. We don't even know how many snaps he will actually play in his first game for the Raiders. So I think he's going to be worth a shot. He's going to be low owned, but he's just a deep threat at this point in his career. So I'm not really looking at. He's not going to get a lot of volume, but who knows? He's worth a shot in some large field stuff. Carlson, the kicker, a great source of value, of course. Raiders defense, I'm not going to be playing. Foster Moreau, I think is interesting here. Didn't have any targets last week, but I think they will go maybe to more 2 tight end sets with no more Henry Ruggs out there, so they can add in an extra tight end. Foster Moreau is a talented guy, man, so he's worth some shots. It's only 2,600. But the best value on the slate, in my opinion, right here is Zay Jones at only 600. Listen, I know Zay Jones isn't the best. He hasn't had the career you look for, but at $600, literally $600, close to the minimum, he played over 60% of the snaps last week. He played the most snaps out of anyone at receiver. So he's going to be out there a lot. I know that the addition of Deshaun Jackson might limit him a little bit, but I still think he's a really safe play here at 600. I mean, the best source of value by far. Marcel Aitman's another guy I guess you can take a chance on. It looks like he reverted back to the practice squad, so we'll see if he's elevated, but he's kind of like their 4th, 5th receiver, so it's really thin. But for me, Zay Jones is the best value on the slate here. I'm going to be tacking him. I think he's pretty safe for cash games, single entry as well. So kind of how this slate shakes out. Should be a lot of high scoring in this game. There's tons of studs. We got to kind of decide who we want. I think both the quarterbacks are the safest, but I always lean, of course, to those pass catchers at captain. So I'll be looking heavily at like Tyreek, Kelsey, Waller, and Renfrow as my main captains for tournaments. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, make sure you smash this like button, hit that subscribe bell as well, and comment down below if you think I missed anyone. Appreciate you guys, man. Until next time, peace.